Chloe, and I'm happy.
I'm on the way, let you know when I'm about a mile away. You know you go broke trying to handle me. Take it from someone who know how to handle me.
So big, word, Lord, have mercy.
I'm just with the crew. We ain't out here looking for boo. And it's all because I love you, babe. Love you, babe. Sometimes you trip on me, babe. And I know it's cause I'm not what you're used to. In your hands, in your hands. Do it every night. Show me a good time. Black girl hair, black girl with the black girl hair. I don't wanna play favorites. You're the one I want the most. Don't really care about the trends you like to follow. And tonight we on a highway. You like Halle, it's Halle. Moving too fast, now you got in the middle. You like it what I do.
Don't ever ask for permission. Ask for forgiveness.
I love you, babe, and it's all because that's just how we do it, and you could do it too.
Chloe Bailey did what? 1 minute, she was America's sweetheart. One half of the angelic, Beyoncé-approved duo Chloe x Halle. The next, the internet was dragging her for filth, calling her desperate, corny, and accusing her of trying too hard to be sexy. But let's be real. Was Chloe really doing too much? Or was she just doing what male artists have done for decades without issue? Why did the same people who hyped her up during the Bust It challenge suddenly turn on her? And most importantly, is Chloe in full control of her own image? Or is she being pushed into a narrative she never asked for? Let's get into it. Before the scandals, before the solo career, and before the internet had way too many opinions about her, Chloe Bailey was just a young girl with a dream and a YouTube account. Chloe and her younger sister Halle Bailey started their journey the way so many stars do these days, by covering songs online. But they weren't just any covers. These girls had vocals that could stop you in your tracks. Their rendition of Beyoncé's Pretty Hurts didn't just rack up views, it got the attention of Queen Bey herself. And when Beyoncé co-signs you, it's game over. She signed them to her Parkwood Entertainment label, and from there, the sisters became unstoppable. They dropped their debut album, The Kids Are All Right, starred in Grownish, and opened for Beyoncé and Jay-Z on tour. By 2020, their Ungodly Hour album had critics and fans alike praising their evolution into mature, boundary-pushing artists. But here's the thing, while both sisters shined, one was getting way more attention than the other, and that's where the drama really begins. At first, Chloe and Halle were inseparable. Two sisters, two voices, one unstoppable duo. But as time went on, it became very clear that Chloe was stepping into the spotlight in a way that her sister wasn't. The first real shift? Social media. Chloe started posting solo videos on Instagram and TikTok, dance clips, sultry photos, and behind-the-scenes looks at her music-making process. And then came the viral moment that changed everything, the Bust It challenge. It was supposed to be just another fun internet trend, but Chloe's take on it? That had the whole timeline talking. Suddenly she wasn't just Chloe from Chloe x Halle. She was Chloe Bailey, the next it girl. Her Instagram following skyrocketed past 1 million. Her name was trending, and for a brief moment, it seemed like the internet had crowned her the next big solo star. But the honeymoon phase didn't last, because in record time, the same people who praised her confidence turned around and accused her of trying too hard. Was Chloe just embracing her grown woman era, or was she being pushed into a hypersexualized image for the sake of fame? Either way, the backlash was coming, and hard. At first, the internet couldn't get enough of Chloe Bailey, but just as quickly as they built her up, they tore her down. Suddenly, Chloe was being accused of doing too much, seeking attention, and even trying to be Beyoncé. Some called her performances extra, while others claimed she was being forced into a hypersexual image. Hold on, forced? Because last time we checked, plenty of male artists take their shirts off on stage, grind on their dancers, and sing about way wilder things. Nobody's calling them desperate. So why was Chloe getting dragged for something that countless artists, especially male artists, get praised for? The truth is, this isn't about Chloe being too sexy. It's about how the industry, the media, and fans themselves have always had a weird obsession with policing black women's bodies. It happened to Janet Jackson. It happened to Beyoncé. And now, it was happening to Chloe. But if the internet thought she was just going to back down and apologize for existing, they had another thing coming. Because after weeks of nonstop hate, Chloe decided to address it head on. And what she said had everyone talking. The hate was relentless. Every post, every outfit, every performance, picked apart, criticized, and turned into another excuse to drag Chloe Bailey. And finally, she hit her breaking point. Chloe went live on Instagram, raw and unfiltered, and for the first time, people saw just how much the backlash was affecting her. Her voice shook as she explained that she wasn't trying to seek attention. She was simply being herself. "It just wouldn't be right of me to show an image of myself that I'm not," she said through tears. "Inside, I'm such a nerd, but when I perform and make music, that's when I get to tap into the sexier side of myself, and that's where I find my confidence." She admitted to struggling with self-esteem for years, feeling insecure about her body, her weight, and the way people perceived her. And now that she was finally learning to love herself, the internet wanted to tear her down for it. This wasn't just about Chloe Bailey anymore. This was about how society treats women who dare to embrace their confidence, and especially black women who don't fit into the modest and respectable box that people try to force them into. But Chloe wasn't going to let that stop her. If anything, this moment proved just how much she was done letting other people's opinions define her. And as she wiped away her tears, the message was clear. She wasn't going anywhere. But the drama wasn't over yet. Because while Chloe was dealing with her own public scrutiny, people started whispering about an even bigger issue. Was this the beginning of the end for Chloe x Halle? For years, Chloe and Halle were inseparable, a sister duo that thrived on their harmonies, their chemistry, and their unbreakable bond. But as Chloe stepped further into her solo spotlight, the internet immediately started speculating. Was this the end of Chloe x Halle? It didn't help that the two sisters created separate Instagram accounts for the first time in their careers, or that Halle was away filming The Little Mermaid, which kept her out of the public eye while Chloe was front and center. Fans started connecting the dots, maybe too much. Some claimed their record label was strategically separating their brands to make them more marketable. Others accused Parkwood Entertainment of grooming Chloe into the next Beyoncé and pushing Halle into an innocent Disney princess role. And then, of course, there were the die-hard conspiracy theorists who swore that Halle didn't approve of Chloe's more provocative image. But was any of it true? Not exactly. In reality, both sisters have always had their own personalities. Chloe has been the more outspoken, bold performer, while Halle has always had a quieter, more ethereal energy. Even their Ungodly Hour performances made it clear. Chloe leaned into the powerful, commanding stage presence, while Halle exuded a more soulful, effortless grace. But let's be real. Social media loves drama. And even when Chloe and Halle publicly shut down the rumors, saying there was no bad blood, some fans refused to believe it. And maybe it was because there was something bigger at play here. Something that had nothing to do with their sisterhood and everything to do with how the industry treats black women differently depending on their image. Because while Chloe was being dragged for embracing her confidence, Halle was being praised for her innocence. And that contrast, that was what really had people talking. But was Chloe's solo rise even her decision? Or was she being pushed into it? Here's the real question. Is Chloe Bailey making these moves because she wants to, or because she has to? From the moment she stepped into her solo era, fans started noticing something odd. Her image shifted dramatically from the artistic, genre-blending Chloe x Halle aesthetic to a much bolder, hyper-glam, and overtly sexualized persona. And while Chloe has always been confident and expressive on stage, something about this transition felt rushed. Some fans speculated that Parkwood Entertainment, Beyoncé's label, was engineering her career to follow a certain formula. You know the one. Check R&B artist with powerhouse vocals, signature provocative style, a solo launch with an edgier, sexier image. Sound familiar? Because it's eerily close to the blueprint Beyoncé herself followed when she stepped away from Destiny's Child. Now let's be clear, Beyoncé built her empire her way, but Chloe? She's still proving herself, and some people started questioning if her career was being carefully curated by the label rather than naturally evolving. Even her debut solo single, Have Mercy, had some scratching their heads. The song itself was a bop, but the visuals, the choreography, the branding, it all leaned hard into the sex appeal. And while some loved it, others felt like it was too much, too fast. As if the industry was trying to mold Chloe into an over-the-top pop star before she had even fully developed her own artistic identity. And here's the irony. When she was in Chloe x Halle, people ignored her talent. When she stepped out solo and embraced her femininity, people accused her of forcing it. So what do people actually want from Chloe Bailey? And more importantly, what does Chloe Bailey want for herself? Because whether this image shift was truly her choice or the product of an industry machine trying to Beyoncé-fy her, one thing was clear. The backlash wasn't stopping anytime soon. But what does all this mean for Chloe's future? And will she be able to overcome the internet's obsession with tearing her down? And let's not forget about the million-dollar question. Is Beyoncé and Jay-Z's influence actually helping or hurting Chloe? Let's talk about the real power players behind Chloe Bailey's career. Beyoncé and Jay-Z. On paper, being signed to Beyoncé's Parkwood Entertainment sounds like a dream. Who wouldn't want Queen Bey as a mentor? But if you know anything about the music industry, you know that Beyoncé and Jay-Z don't just uplift artists, they dominate them. And sometimes, that means eliminating the competition. Let's take a look at the track record. Tierra Marie, once the next big thing at Rockefeller Records, until Rihanna showed up. Jay-Z shifted all his attention to Rihanna, and Tierra's career practically vanished overnight. Amarie, a rising R&B star with a unique sound, until her One Thing era started drawing too much comparison to Beyoncé. Suddenly she wasn't getting the same label push. Carrie Hilson, after shading Beyoncé and Turnin' Me On, she was mysteriously blackballed from the industry. Coincidence? So where does Chloe fit into all of this? From the outside, it looks like she's being set up to follow in Beyoncé's footsteps, but only to a certain extent, because let's be real, Beyoncé is never going to let someone in her own camp become too big. Think about it. If Parkwood Entertainment really wanted to make Chloe the next superstar, why haven't they given her the same level of push and protection they gave Beyoncé? Why was she left to fend for herself against online hate and backlash? And why does it feel like she's being molded into a hypersexualized version of herself instead of being allowed to grow organically? Is Chloe being groomed for greatness, or is she being set up to fail? And if she is being set up, the real question is, who benefits the most if Chloe doesn't succeed? The answer? The same people who have always made sure they stay at the top. But at this point, Chloe has two choices. Play the game and hope she doesn't get pushed out like so many others before her. Take full control of her career and prove that she's more than just a Beyoncé protege. Which one will she choose? With all the drama, the backlash, and the pressure to live up to an impossible standard, the real question is, where does Chloe Bailey go from here? Because let's be real, she's crazy talented. The girl can sing, dance, produce, and perform circles around half the industry. But talent alone isn't enough to survive in a business that thrives on narratives and marketability. Right now, Chloe is at a crossroads. She's already dropped her debut solo album, In Pieces, but the industry response, underwhelming. The same people who hyped her up for months were suddenly nowhere to be found when it came time to actually support her music. And that's the problem. The industry loves to hype black women up for their aesthetic, but when it's time to respect them as artists, crickets. Chloe now has to decide, does she keep chasing mainstream success, or does she pivot and focus on her core fan base? Because let's face it, her label might not always have her back. We've seen this story before. Tina Shea was set up to be the next big thing, until RCA dropped the ball on her career. Normani had all the momentum in the world, until her label left her waiting in limbo. Even artists like Ciara and Ashanti struggled once the industry machine stopped pushing them. So what's stopping the same thing from happening to Chloe? Right now she's still fighting for her space, still proving she belongs, and she's not backing down. She's still making music, still performing, and still showing the world that she is not just Beyoncé's protege. She is Chloe Bailey. But the real question is, will the industry finally give her the respect she deserves, or will she have to take it by force? Because if history has taught us anything, black women in music are never just given their place. They have to fight for it. And Chloe, she's just getting started. So after everything, the rise, the backlash, the rumors, and the constant comparisons, what will Chloe Bailey be remembered for? Will she be known as the girl who tried too hard to break free from her duo, only to struggle in the industry's brutal solo game? Or will she be remembered as the artist who fought back, took control of her own image, and carved out her own lane on her own terms? Right now, she's still writing that legacy. But if there's one thing we know for sure, It's this. Chloe Bailey is not the type to back down. She's already made it clear that she's not here for anyone's approval. Not the internet's, not the industry's, and definitely not the people who only support her when it's convenient. Love her or hate her, she's pushing forward, defying expectations, and proving that she is more than just a Beyoncé protege. But the question remains, will the world finally give Chloe the respect she deserves, or will she be yet another case of an artist the industry failed to protect? Only time will tell.